Hey everyone, welcome to Currency Revalue. Stop what you're doing and listen closely. Tonight we've received a confirmation so massive that it will ripple through lives, families, and economies around the world. For years you've held notes in drawers, under mattresses, in safes, patiently waiting, hoping, sometimes mocked. Tonight, those same notes have stepped out of the shadows. The green light is on. Exchanges are beginning. The revaluation that many said would never occur has been confirmed, and the doors open tomorrow morning. If you hold Iraqi Dinar or Vietnamese dong, this broadcast is for you. Calmly. Carefully. Right now I'm going to walk you through exactly what we know, how this rollout is unfolding, what the practical steps will look like, the risks you must avoid, and how to think through this life-changing moment so you don't let it slip away. First, breathe. This is real. Reports from multiple banking insiders, people who work in private banking desks, wealth management teams, and exchange centers, say that the signal to begin exchanges has been transmitted to selected institutions. Phone calls have been made. Appointments are being scheduled. Some early exchanges are already being processed under tightly controlled conditions. The announcement did not arrive as the usual public spectacle. It was surgical: interbank memos, secure emails, encrypted directives to specific branches and redemption centers. That is both the reason it feels surreal, because mainstream channels may be quiet, and the reason you must act with discipline. Let me explain how this is being rolled out. This isn't an open market flood, it's a tiered, phased approach. There are categories of access: public tiers where ordinary holders will be directed to designated branches for scheduled exchanges; private tiers, often referred to in industry language as Tier 4B, where qualified holders, vetted accounts, and institutional partners have negotiated contract rates and bespoke appointment windows. And then there are strategic plates, large sovereign or corporate contracts handled off-market. Each group will follow its own protocol. The leaked text you may have seen online about Tier 4B rates and contract windows is consistent with what multiple insiders have described: higher negotiated rates for eligible participants, subject to strict documentation, NDAs for some staff, and staged payout structures to prevent liquidity shocks. What about the numbers? Early but consistent insider reports indicate exchange rates being presented to certain clients above $3 per IQD in some private arrangements, and significant upward adjustments for VND as well. I cannot give you a single universal number because rates will vary by category, contract versus retail versus negotiated, and by jurisdiction. But the point is this: the rates we've watched as mere speculation are now live in various channels. Some people have already been offered conversion proposals. That's the definition of execution: plans moving from paper to payment. Imagine the immediate human impact. Picture a teacher in Basra who has saved a modest stack of dinar over a decade. If her stack now converts at a rate that meaningfully raises purchasing power, she can pay off her mortgage, buy a car, or afford a child's education. Picture a retiree in a small U.S. city holding VND who suddenly gains the ability to clear medical bills. These stories are not abstractions, they are the likely near-term reality for thousands, perhaps millions. The reporters calling relatives. The neighbors hugging. The phone lines lighting up with appointment confirmations. That is what people mean when they say life-changing. But it isn't an instantaneous windfall for everyone, and it won't be chaos-free. The banks know that. That's why this operation is tightly controlled. Expect appointment-only exchanges. Expect secure desks or private banking suites to process higher-value clients. Expect KYC, know your customer, and compliance checks to be exhaustive: IDs, proof of legal acquisition, receipts, transfer records. Expect some banks to offer structured payouts rather than one-time lump sums, a portion up front to cover urgent needs and the remainder paid in scheduled tranches over months or years, sometimes tied to modest interest. That's not a trap, it's a mechanism designed to protect clients, banking systems, and markets from destabilizing flows. Here are practical steps you should take right now to be prepared for an appointment or a sudden public instruction. Gather documentation. Collect any receipts, transfer confirmations, bank statements, purchase records, invoices, anything that proves how and when you acquired your dinar or dong. If you bought through a dealer, locate those purchase records. If you used a bank transfer, download the SWIFT or transfer confirmations. Banks will want proof of legal ownership. Inspect your notes. Banks often reject badly damaged currency. Sort your notes, place them flat, remove any taped bills. Banks sometimes handle them differently, and photograph them for your records. Keep the physical bills secure, but know that you may be asked to present them in person. Secure identification. Passports and government-issued IDs will be mandatory. Bring supporting documents, proof of address, tax IDs, and any relevant bank account details. If you have trust structures or joint ownership, have the legal paperwork at hand. Do not fall for shortcuts. Scammers will appear like vultures. There will be offers of walk-ins, backroom exchanges, and private brokers promising higher rates. Ignore them. Only proceed through verified banks, authorized exchange centers, or the official guidance issued by the Central Bank of Iraq and your local banking regulators. Plan ahead financially and legally. Before spending any converted funds, consult a licensed tax advisor and a reputable financial planner. Different jurisdictions have varying tax rules for large currency conversions. Sudden liquidity can trigger reporting thresholds. Structure your financial next steps deliberately. Now let's walk through what you can expect at a bank appointment, step by step, so there are no surprises. You'll likely arrive at a designated branch or a private appointment desk. Security will be present. Staff will verify your ID and your documentation. They will inspect your notes, possibly serial numbers if large sums are involved. They will input your information into compliance systems to ensure funds are clean and properly sourced. You may be required to sign forms acknowledging staged payouts, tax reporting obligations, or non-disclosure terms in certain cases. If you're part of a private negotiated tier, expect an advisor to walk you through payout structuring, trust options, and wealth management introductions. If you're in the public retail tier, expect a more standardized exchange and likely digital credits deposited into a bank account or issued as cashier checks depending on jurisdictional rules. This is also the moment governments and financial regulators step into view. Tax authorities will reassert themselves. Anti-money laundering units will comb through transactions. That's expected, natural, and necessary. Remember, the existence of oversight is not an impediment, it's a protection that preserves the integrity of the revaluation and ensures the event strengthens the broader financial system, rather than destabilizing it. Let's talk about timing and sequencing because that's critical for understanding what happens next. The initial confirmations and private appointments are the first phase, a controlled release to ensure operational readiness, iron out logistical glitches, and test liquidity management. The second phase will be broader public appointments for retail holders. The third phase could be expanded financial market recognition, where FX platforms and clearing houses adjust rates and liquidity providers respond. That's when global forex platforms will reflect updated IQD and VND valuations widely. Expect weeks, not just a single morning, for full normalization. There are macro implications to consider. If the dinar and dong reach materially higher valuations, this redistributes purchasing power. A central bank with larger effective reserves buys more goods, secures better borrowing terms, and can rebuild infrastructure faster. For Iraq specifically, increased currency value backed by oil revenues can mean a stronger ability to service debt, import critical goods, and invest in projects. For ordinary citizens, it can mean tangible improvements in living standards. But there is a balancing act. Central banks will manage this carefully to avoid runaway inflation or asset bubbles in local markets. Officials will use monetary tools to absorb liquidity, manage rates, and maintain stability. Be mindful of the geopolitical dynamics. The coordinated nature of this rollout, which insiders say involved international partners, suggests there was global negotiation and vetting. That's deliberate. A poorly managed, surprise revaluation could cause spillovers in neighboring markets and trigger unnecessary volatility. A managed rollout means authorities want the benefits to be sustainable. However, geopolitical risks remain. Sudden policy shifts in other countries, regional tensions, or unanticipated market reactions can create turbulence. That's another reason for staged implementations. Also consider the banking operations angle. Banks prepared for months with system updates, currency verification protocols, and staff training for high-volume exchange events. Many institutions have already created special desks and appointment channels. Some banks will deploy NDAs for staff and wealth management teams to prevent leaks and to manage the flow. Expect an initial period where only specialized desks handle large transactions. Ordinary branches will follow as the process scales. Now, let's take a sober look at the threats and pitfalls. First, fraud and phishing. You will receive messages claiming to be official and requesting personal information. Any legitimate bank will never ask for your full password over the phone or demand fees in advance to secure an appointment. Second, predatory brokers, people claiming to get you in early for a fee. Avoid them. Third, tax surprises. Depending on where you live, converted funds could trigger taxable events, and failing to comply leads to penalties. Fourth, emotional spending. Windfalls can tempt rapid, unstructured purchases that leave long-term financial health damaged. Use trusted advisors. For those who have been holding long-term, think in terms of legacy, not lottery. Use professional counsel. Consider trusts, estate planning, and diversified investments. Think about debt reduction first, emergency funds second, then long-term investing or philanthropic goals. A sudden increase in liquidity is a powerful opportunity, but only if managed with care. Let's cover a few likely scenarios we'll see in the first 72 hours. Scenario 1. Tiered private appointments proceed smoothly. Early recipients receive funds in staged distributions, guided by private bankers. Scenario 2. Retail appointments are scheduled over days to weeks, prioritized by geographic and logistic considerations. Expect some lines, yes, but also organize time slots to prevent system overload. Scenario 3. Bad actors post fake appointment notices online. Regulators quickly remove them and publish official guidance. Scenario 4. Some fintech platforms begin updating their exchange services to include IQD and VND. Initial liquidity may be limited but will improve rapidly as market makers join. To help you visualize, here are a few plausible, concrete examples. A small business owner in Erbil with a stack of dinar uses the immediate conversion payout to clear supplier debts, import a new production line, and hire 20 employees. That's a multiplier effect that benefits the community. A teacher in Baghdad clears medical debt and secures a small home renovation. A retired couple in Ohio suddenly has the cash to eliminate a mortgage and fund long-deferred travel plans. These micro-stories will become the headline human moments we see as the exchanges execute. At the same time, there will be financial mechanics that won't make headlines. Banks and central banks coordinating to manage FX liquidity, central banks conducting open market operations to mop up sudden dinar liquidity, international custodians updating settlement instructions. Traders and institutional desks will rebalance portfolios overnight. That technical work is why exchanges are being staged. Authorities want to avoid shocks that could reverberate across international markets. One more critical operational detail: record-keeping. Keep a precise, dated record of every conversation, confirmation, receipt, and transaction. When you attend an appointment, obtain a written confirmation of the rate applied, the payout schedule, and the legal disclosures you sign. Digital copies of everything are golden. If anything looks off, do not sign under pressure. Ask for time, call a verified bank number, get independent verification. Finally, a moral and emotional note. For many of you, this is more than money. It's vindication. It's proof that patience and faith sometimes pay off. But remember, wealth is a tool. Use it to build resilience for your family, invest in community, and create enduring value. Avoid theater. Avoid bravado. You will see people flaunting sudden conversions on social media. That's tempting, but it can also invite risk. Privacy matters now more than ever. In closing, let me recap the essentials. Confirmations are coming from multiple banking insiders. Exchanges are beginning in a controlled, tiered rollout starting tomorrow. Expect appointment-only exchanges, heavy compliance, NDAs in private desks, and structured payouts in many cases. Prepare documentation, inspect and secure your notes, line up identification, and consult trusted financial and legal counsel before you make irreversible choices. This is Currency Revalue. We will be on watch all night and bring you the most verified, practical updates as they come. Keep your eyes on official bank communications and your regulators' notices. Ignore unsolicited offers. If you are contacted, verify everything through the publicly listed bank numbers and insist on written confirmations. You are witnessing a historic moment. Be wise. Be deliberate. Be ready.